There's a new talking point that's becoming very popular, and it has to do with blaming black people for COVID, for low vaccination numbers. And why not, right? I mean, you might as well try. If you're Republicans right now and everything's going wrong, try blaming black people. Why not? This is Texas Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick. He was on Fox News' Laura Ingraham program. He said the reason COVID is spreading wildly in Texas is black folks who won't get vaccinated. This is the same Dan Patrick who earlier in the pandemic said open everything because we got to do it for the economy, and grandma is willing to sacrifice herself. Let's listen to him explain why black people are to blame.
Are coming after your state really quickly here, and as a response, coming after your state because the increased COVID numbers, hospitalizations, deaths are up in Texas, and there's a direct assault on your governor's policies and your state's policies. Very brief response.
Yeah. Well, Laura, the COVID is spreading, particularly most of the numbers are with the unvaccinated, and the Democrats like to blame Republicans on that. Well, the biggest group in most states are African Americans who have not been vaccinated. And the last time I checked, over 90% of them vote for Democrats in their major cities and major counties. So it's up to the Democrats to get, just as it's up to Republicans, to try to get as many people vaccinated. But we respect the fact that if people don't want the vaccination, we're not going to force it on them. That's their individual right. But in terms of criticizing the Republicans for this, we're encouraging people who want to take it, but they're doing nothing for the African American community that has a significant high number of unvaccinated
TikTok
people.
videos.
So they need to address
that. We got a lot of TikTok.
Yes.
Now, you have to be able to apply some logic here. And what I mean by that is, let's pretend that Dan Patrick has a point here. At least he could have a point, right? It could be that he has a point. Texas only has a 13% black population. So even if a full 50% of black Texans don't want to get vaccinated, that's only 6.5% of the total population of Texas. But we have data about who are the most anti-vax cohorts of the population. And the most anti-vax group is Republicans, roughly 30%. It is true that black folks in the United States, as well as people without college degrees, Hispanic Americans, and some other groups, these are some of the more vaccine hesitant groups. That's true. But Republicans are the ones that take the cake. Here's another data set from the Kaiser Family Foundation, which finds the most vaccinated groups are Democrats, white Democrats, 65 plus Americans, college graduates, etc. Black adults are right in the middle, and Republicans, and in particular white Republicans, are at the very, very bottom. And then in the raw numbers, 39% of registered voters in Texas are Republicans, but only 13% are black people. Meanwhile, it's 45% of the Texas population that hasn't even gotten one dose. And Dan Patrick wants to blame a group that's 13% of the population and is sort of getting vaccinated at roughly the same rate as the average Americans are. Now, if you want to see an interesting graphic, we'll put up on the screen now. On the left is the map of vaccination in Texas. And on the right is the map of the liberal areas in Texas, the more left-leaning areas. They match perfectly. The most vaccinated parts of Texas are the most liberal parts of Texas. But it's anything they can do to shift the blame. And what they're choosing now is let's blame black people. It's just perfect, actually, for them. I'm not surprised that this is what they're doing. I'm surprised it took them this long to try it. Just blame black people. Why not? And then meanwhile, they'll also say it's people pouring over the border thanks to Joe Biden. It's illegal immigrant Hispanics that are bringing the virus. The most anti-vax groups are Republicans and white Republicans, and that's who's driving this at the end of the day. One of our sponsors is SteadyMD Primary Care, the easier and more affordable way to do primary care, and they're giving you 50% off because you are in my audience. You just answer a few questions. SteadyMD will match you with a licensed primary care physician that's tailored to your needs. You'll have a 1-hour virtual appointment and start a meaningful relationship with your new doctor. And from then on, your doctor will be available to you by text, phone, and video chat. It's not some random doctor on call. Your SteadyMD doctor has a limited number of patients. You get the attention you deserve, and they can help you with anything your primary care doc normally would. It's very cool how it works. You don't need insurance. It's just $99 a month, no other fees or copays for visits. Take the free quiz and see which doctor is a perfect fit for you. You'll get 50% off your first month when you go to steadymd.com/Pacman. No risk, no long-term commitment. The link is right underneath the video.